are back another week, you all. Another Saturday here on the Watchdogs on our Black Media Network. We are, as always, we have an interesting topic that will hopefully provoke comments, questions, and conversation. And today we're going to talk about, how do younger people, younger generations, look at the future of politics, the future of our nation, the future of international relations. What does the future look like as far as they're concerned? Of course, as we go from generation to generation, that kind of shifts from the baby boomers to my generation and those who might be in younger spaces. And so today we have a guest who I've known for a while. I think we've known each other for what, about almost 20 years. But I'll let him introduce himself and we'll jump right in.
Hey everybody, how y'all doing? My name is Philip. Brian invited me on the show today, and hopefully we could just talk about some great things, get some perspectives going. Hope you guys like what we're talking about.
That's it. So, Philip, tell them what you do. A little bit about yourself and kind of how you see the world right now as it stands.
I'm 25 years old. I do IT. I work in Alabama. I think that right now in the world, we're definitely at a culture shift. Definitely things are happening in society that's kind of like showing that we're kicking off a new time. Everybody's going through growing pains in society right now. And just overall, you could definitely just feel that there's a monumental change and shift happening in how people think and process information, moving on to the next generation of thinkers.
Mm-hmm. You said a key word, a shift. When you say that, kind of what does that mean? Help us kind of understand it a little better.
Well, when I say a shift,
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely like a political shift going on. Certain things that were politically correct just a few years ago, like if you watch a movie from 2006 or 2007, are very taboo in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
We're still learning what to say, what we can't say, how things are running right now. What's the tone in 2022? And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like everybody's still learning what exact tone do they need to be on during this new time. We haven't really reached the point yet, at least in my opinion, where everybody knows what exactly to say, how to say it, what things are politically correct now. It's just a whole cultural shift of everything.
Right, right. I'm glad you said that, because and you, as we talked about earlier, this conversation is kind of free flowing, and so it's not pre-scripted or anything. But when you said that, what popped in my mind was how older generations, like people, I mean, my dad, I'm like, hey, Bernard, we're gonna pull you in a minute, but how earlier generations looked at things to be politically correct, right?
Right.
I think a lot of times that can get in the way of progress, in particular when we start talking about race and gender. I think, in my opinion, a lot of times people shy away from the conversation because they are either A, afraid to have the conversation, or B, is it correct to say, hey, from certain perspectives, why can't I say this, or what is correct to say? So even with uh, sexuality, and we see the Marriage Equality Act signed into law, people get kind of dicey there because what's appropriate to say? Can I say this term, or can I
Exactly.
ask this question? So really quick before we go further than that, I want to introduce Bernard. Bernard, this is Philip. Philip is in the great state of Alabama. Roll Tide. And Bernard is one of our guests on America. Well, one of our anchors. Excuse me, Bernard. And leads our show America After Dark, which is really one of our more comedy, fun shows, and he does a darn good job there. But so, Bernard, any words you want to kind of say really quick as we kind of jump into this conversation? But are you ever able to hear us, or you might
I
have turned
think
your Wi-Fi button off?
I think he's still getting everything taken.
Yeah. But if you could, let's go back to that what I was talking about with the politically correct thing. What do you think about all of that?
Yeah. You had said something about um, you know, about it just hindering progress, and I had wanted to get into that too because it's just it's a very weird time. It's a very weird time. It's a very weird time now in days with that certain, and then especially in my generation, we're not which is Gen Z, we're already not a confrontational generation to begin with. So when you had said that, sometimes it hurts being able to have like upfront conversations and different things like that. There's a phenomenon that I like to call toxic positivity.
Wow.
And that's really rampant in my generation, Gen Z.
Okay. Yeah. Talk more about that. I've never heard that. Toxic positivity. That's too, yeah. Like,
You ever heard of toxic positivity? Okay, so toxic positivity, right? Toxic positivity is when people are overly positive to the point where people are no longer being blunt with each other anymore.
mm-hmm.
When you keep things like, so say you're in a work environment and everybody around you is just super 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 positive, but they all hate your guts. That's the definition of toxic positivity. Basically, being positive to a point where reality and stuff like that is no longer on the conversation.
Right. Right. Well, it's like, I guess in my age group, we call it being fake.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But my
yeah.
thing is, with that, I just, even with that, I think a lot of times we as human beings one thing, we are overly nosy culture, and I'm talking about the United States, and B, we develop these unreal social thoughts about people or assumptions or things that now become a divisive fact piece. And again, I think I'm landing on this idea of why is it so difficult to have conversations with folk, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, all the things we're talking about, like I'm going to use this is going to be real fun. The black church. The black
Right.
church has all of these opinions on, we're just going to use homosexuality. But while you're sitting here demonizing one thing, wasn't that what the slaveholders did to us? And isn't that how we got to the black church? And aren't we subscribing to a whole systematic way of religion that white folk presumed upon us? But we can't say that out loud.
Right.
One is not out of hurt or shame. It's just out of, we're sitting here practicing and doing things that we preach against.
Right. And I agree with that. Definitely. There has to be, even in the black community, there has to be more conversation of opposing views, and I feel like that will progress our race, our people a lot. Like a lot of times in the black community, you're shunned from having a viewpoint or an ideal that's outside of whatever norm or whatever social structure you're in. So if you're in a social structure where it's church, they have their own norms and values and different things that they believe in. And then if your social structure is with hipsters or rappers or thugs or whatever clique you decide you want to get into, there's all these social constructs. But the problem is within those social constructs, there's never two opposing ideals that go back and forth to sharpen each other.
Right.
It's always, we're gonna think this way, and that's it.
Right. Which is interesting. And let's go a little broader. We look in Washington, D.C., and we look at state and local politics and legislation. It's gotten very bad. Toxic is the word that pops up. It's gotten really bad because it's winner take all. And it's no longer, well, I think we're getting back, leaning a little more into collaboration and compromise. But it's very dangerous when, you have a lot of yes people around, or you expect a lot of yes people around, as opposed to, I want somebody to have an opposing view so that A, I can think about the opposing view, but B, it makes you think do I have the right idea? You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
Bernard, good to have you. Looks like the Wi-Fi worked out. I got an IT guy here if you need some help.
Now, hey, I'm at Jenkins High School. Tell Jamal they ain't paying their internet bill.
Don't worry about it. We're gonna fire Jamal Teray after that stunt he pulled Wednesday night. He's fired anyway. So y'all let him know.
I'm so dead.
You know, the chief financial officer fired him. No, but Bernard, we got Philip here, young man. We're talking about the future. Just a broad conversation. We're talking about, and you came in on the right time, Bernard. Talking about this idea of being politically correct. What are your thoughts on that?
Hey, y'all know how I feel about political correct because I'm always saying it. I don't like people, going around and always scared to say what they want to say.
Yeah.
So what they do is they turn it around and put it in a political correct way, and making it look like they trying to please both sides. And I'm a firm believer this here. I'm gonna stay on one side. I'm gonna stay on my people's side. I'm not gonna put anything political correct. I'm gonna keep it real. And if you don't like it, that's your problem. But don't never be one of these fake person that say something behind closed door that you really mean. But when you're in the public eye, you being political correct to try to save face. I'm not like that. RG not like that. Everybody who work at our Black Media lot like that. So stand for what you believe in. And if you can't stand what you believe in, then don't say anything. Don't say anything. Right. That's my opinion on life and everything. They always say loud person make a empty wagon make a lot of noise. Yeah, that's when you grown up. But when you get the knowledge, hey. I'm 60 years old. I'm smart now. I was dumb as hell about 80, about what?
It's an 80
years ago. I'm smart now, boy.
You were dumb before you got here?
I was dumb as hell when I got here, but I'm smart now.
All right.
Young man, I use Google.
I tell people all the time.
Oh, God.
There's a new one around, Philip. It's called Bang. Ain't it Bang?
That's it, man.
Hey,
that's it. You can't be dumb on this world all your life.
All the stuff, YouTube and all that, man. Look here. I can build a whole house with that stuff.
Yeah.
Man, who you telling? You can learn anything on YouTube.
Listen.
Yeah.
But y'all, and Philip, I want you to speak to this. We just had an election. And I think sometimes what gets in the way of progress or people really getting to the real meat of the information is the media. So, with Warnock and all them being elected, I err on the side of, are we really in a legislative world or space, or are we just trying to winner take all? So, for example, they're talking about the Senate, and if we get 51, 52, we run this thing. But is it really about running it? Have we lost our sight in the idea of collaboration and working together? Like, where are we and where are we going with this stuff?
Go ahead, young man.
Well, I'm not too familiar with the election that you're referring to, but I definitely can relate to your sentiment when you say it seems like it's all about winner takes all. It seems like politics and this time is, can my side get this? It's almost kind of like a gang mentality. Like, we want all the coins as the Democrats, and the Republicans want all the coins for themselves too. But the whole point of all of this whole system is supposed to be collaboration. It's supposed to be checks and balances. At least that's what they teach you in 8th grade, 7th grade, 6th grade. However, nowadays, or maybe I'm just saying nowadays, maybe it's always been like this. But from my perspective, politics, going off of what you said, definitely seems to be kind of like a winner take all type of situation. And considering that you're running for council, like what is your ideals on, like, what do you see in your party? Like, I don't know too many people in too many politicians, and I've always wanted to know, like, what is it on your side?
Right. I'm glad you asked that, because this is gonna be a long answer, so y'all bear with me. Because I want to bring religion in this, because I'll use that as my launch. So I grew up Catholic. I've always been Catholic. I come from a family where my dad was a very, very conservative Catholic, meaning you do the sign of the cross at every meal, and if you don't do it, he gets upset. Mom was kind of in the middle. I'm one of these people. I live in the idealist. I live in the idea of spirituality. So I don't believe I got to go to church to have a connection. I don't believe I have to go do these things to have a connection with God, right? So I say all that to say I really struggled when I was in college. Do I identify that way, or is it just something that was cool growing up? And to the point where I really start going to AME churches and identify more as what I would call a more AME type person. So I started to say, I had to tell myself, well, you can still practice Catholicism and also live in the spiritual way that you live. So I don't necessarily have to subscribe to those values of the church, and I can be myself. So when I realized that, I started thinking about that in the same way with political aspirations. And so I don't use the word identity, but I affiliate with the Democratic Party. And while I don't always espouse to their values, I do support the way about getting to the goal line. So all of the parties, the Green Party, the Democrat, the Republican, the Libertarian, all of us have a vision. All of us want the same. No, take that back. All of us, all of us want some outcome. It's how we get to the outcome and the path we take. I just tend to lean more into the Democratic Party because what we do face fronting, what we tell the public, I can jive with that. And so, but how I practice my leadership as a public servant, because I don't look at myself as a politician. A politician is not a public servant always. So the way I look at my leadership is I know when I go into these spaces what I want to do. I'm not like something, and this is going, I'm step on toes, but I don't mean it in the spirit. It's about to come out, y'all. I don't go into political races just to be seen. So, you'll see people run for thing after thing after thing after thing. That to me that's not me. I'll just say that. Mm-hmm. When I go into these spaces, it's for real live leadership and change. I even pull myself out of it. And so in the space of leadership and running for council, my vision is set on how do I serve these communities? It's how do we stop this flooding issue that's been here for 20 years? It's how do we make sure that we pause and push back against regentrification? It's how do we meet the needs of constituents and the things that they are having pains over? How do we serve? And I'm sure once I get into the seat, there are going to be people who want to pad my pockets, give me money for this. You can keep your damn money. Excuse my language. That's not how I operate. When you go into space of leadership, I'm not there to serve the Democratic Party. I'm not even there to serve myself. I'm last. But you're there to serve the constituents in a way that you said you would do that. That's just how I look at it. So I know that's a long answer, but you got to I think the answer is this. You got to realize what your values are for people that you are representing. That's the most important thing. And when you forget that, you need to sit down.
Yeah. It's like this. With me, I'm not a politician person. I'm a people person. At the end of the day, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican, independent. You know why I say that is because you get caught up in, they think it's a football game. The Republican Democrat think it's a football game. Man, we dealing with people's life. Ain't no football game. We dealing with people's life. We dealing with every consequence that come our way. They always want to bottle up and say, okay, I won, you lost, I won. At the end of the day, now you got people down there homeless. Now you got kids down here killing kids. Now they done had so many kids done been killed in Savannah, Georgia since I've been here in a month. It's ridiculous. And these people up in Washington, D.C. don't understand. And right, the reason why they don't understand, and I don't care what people say, what I'm about to say. The reason why they don't understand because they don't care about Black people. They don't care about us. They don't want us around. They always thinking we always up to no good. But at the end of the day, behind closed doors, they up to no good because they plotting to take us out here. And I know that's deep, but it's true. It's absolutely true. And like I say, if you're a man and you can't stand up for what you believe in, then you might well put on a dress at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Because I am so tired and I'm frustrated and I'm passionate about what I say and what I do, but I love my people. and I'm going to look out for my people at the end of the day. And if Warnock don't do what he need to do, he got to go. If Biden don't stop stepping up, he got to go. Everybody want to around here want to be a politician, and at the end of the day, when they get in office, they ain't gonna do a damn thing. They ain't gonna do nothing at the end of the day. And I say this on a rabble. You don't have to be in politics to be a leader. I'm a leader because I'm a leader in my own way, and I cuss a lot, but sometimes you got to cuss to make people understand what you're trying to say. If you're around here talking, not with no cussing in it, people ain't gonna listen to you.
They wake up on it.
They ain't gonna listen to you, trust me.
Right.
Hey, and the reason why they listen, I'm loud, and I'm black, and I'm proud.
I think that's a song. Hey, y'all, we're going to a commercial break. But you brought up a good point. When we come back from commercial break, and we're going to start with you, Philip, how do we fix what you talked about, Bernard? Not even fix it. How do we address this violence and the gun laws and all that? So keep that in your mind. We'll come back after our 2 commercial. We're going to show. The city of Savannah has always been known for its African-American culture. Uh-oh, my bad, y'all. I screwed that up. Hold on, we're coming back. I'm going to get fired, y'all. I'm going to get fired. Ooh, I messed up bad. Hey, at least I can admit it. All right, y'all, we're going to do that right. I'm going to fix this right now. 2 commercials and we're back. The city of Savannah has always been known for its African-American culture, especially in the 5th District, where I live. Over 50 years ago, my mother and father developed a home in the 5th District, in Liberty City to be exact. And since that time, we have lost our voice and struggled to find the really great leadership that makes us really proud. Our culture, our heritage, and our land have been questioned. But if you join me, Robert Bryant, next year in 2023, we can get to work and believe in change that we can all be proud of. So join me, let's believe in a change, and together we will make the District 5 stronger. Thank you. All right, our producer just told me that we'll do that second commercial a little later on, and I'll be probably 15 minutes. But let's go back to that gun laws. Look, we got to fix this, and let me just kind of lead with this. What really, and I'm going to use the word anger because it does anger me, is that time after time we see mass killings, and I'm so sick and tired of thoughts and prayers. We need thoughts and prayers for these idiots in DC. That's what we need. We need thoughts and prayers for these cowards on the local and state level who want to back the NRA and fill their pockets when there's people dying. I mean, what gets me is, many years ago, it's no secret that we all got in our families, but when you have to see your mother crying because you lost a son on either side of that spectrum, whether it be one dying and you got to bury him or one going to prison, when you have to watch that at 14 years old, you will wake up and realize that we can do something about this. How do we get to a solution? I'm so tired of these cowardly politicians afraid to take action. There is no reason why a war weapon should be on the streets. No reason why. There's no reason why our young people should have in their mind that I got to kill opposition to make myself feel better. Guns are made to slow people down, not to necessarily kill somebody, in my opinion. So if you rob my house, I might shoot you if I feel like I'm in imminent danger. But to go out and shoot a person to kill and take their life, it's just a lot. So I'm going to hush, but how do we get to a solution? Because this has gotten out of hand.
You know what? It's like this. Guns don't kill people. People with guns kill people. You know what I'm saying? Right now, this law, they done changed the law that everybody can walk around with a gun with no license. It's a war zone. It's a war zone. Yes, you got to protect yourself. You got to protect your family, because at the end of the day, but when you putting guns in mental health patients, I call them mental health patient, which is people, their first reaction is going to shoot somebody. And not only that, it's like I'm gonna give you a prime example. These cops going around killing unnecessary killing people, and they feel like they have the right to defend themselves, But at the end of the day, if you got a right to defend yourself and you defending yourself with somebody that don't have a gun and their back is turned and you shoot them, then that's absolutely ridiculous. And to be honest, they changed the law. People always say, "Why I talk about black and white," because at the end of the day, it is about black and white.
Always have been.
Don't like talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Until this country face what they really and truly have issue about, and is bigger than gun, that's a racial problem. Period. We have a problem in this country. We have a white problem, a black problem, Asian problem. We got a problem that we need to fix. And the only way we're gonna fix it, young man, and RG, we stand with each other, man. United we stand, united we fall. Until black folks realize that, they're gonna always mistreat us. They're gonna always, blame things on us that we don't have no kind of we don't have no kind of sense to know what really going on at the end of the day. So young fella, I'm like this here. I just met you, and the way you talk, very intelligent, and that I think you can be a leader to the next young generation out here, because RG not gonna be here all long. I'm not.
Forever. I'm here forever.
And you want to be?
God, you see this? You see this, right? But not, take his blessing. Take it back. Thank you.
You want to be? Hey, reality. Hey. That's that political correct answer that RG gives.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what that is.
Be here for 40, 80 more years.
Nah. Hey, if I'm here 102 years, boy, I bet I'm gonna be an ugly something.
Man, well, I couldn't imagine being here 102 years. I'm surprised I made it 25.
Hey, shit, man, I'm surprised I made 60. But you know what? Hey, faith, family, and friends, keep God first in your life, man, and we can do it. Hey, we just got to come together, brother, at the end of the day.
But to answer your question, Brian, I know you anti-gun. My feelings on guns is you said what?
I ain't anti-gun. Never mind. I ain't said the last part.
I was saying, but my feelings on guns is weird. I feel like the problem in America is not guns. I feel like the problem in America is the culture that we have made. What is pushing these random white boys in these schools in the middle of Maine and Ohio to go in there and shoot up a whole school? What is pushing this black man, this Latino man to shoot up a Walmart? What is going on in society that's causing people from taking these tools and using them for tools of mass destruction? See, I personally don't think it's the tool. And when they came and they made the Constitution, I think one of the big reasons that is important for Americans to have guns, and this is something that nobody talks about, I think people understand why it's important for us to have guns as a people. When they first came up with the Constitution, the reason why they wanted people to bear arms is so that if the government went out of control, if everybody in the White House decided that they wanted to turn on the people, that we would have the ability to protect ourselves. If they see, what we got in America is something special that a lot of countries don't have anymore. If Britain decides to turn on their people don't have any guns or anything like that to protect themselves. If Canada decides to turn on their people, they don't have anything to protect themselves. If the army comes into Canada and wants to take over everybody, they don't have any way to protect ourselves. But what we got in America is something special. We have a way to protect ourselves. If an invader came to our country, if Mexico decided they wanted to declare war on us, all them boys in Alabama, we are ready. We are ready. In Georgia, we are ready. I'm sure Mr. Bernard is ready. We are ready in Texas. We ready everywhere in America.
Boys in Compton ready.
We ready. They just finally they need a reason to stop killing black people. Yes, They are ready. They are ready. Everywhere in America is ready. So I don't know. I hear what you're saying about the guns. I believe what you're saying comes from a place of love, but I don't know. For me, I just feel like it's scary. I can see why these guys that's supporting the NRA and stuff like that, don't want to take away our guns. I can relate with what they're saying, because if they take away all of our guns and all our weapons and stuff like that, man, it's so crazy. We getting all these people in office. Anything can happen in America any day, and it can implode. So then, how am I going to protect myself if they decide to bring in the army and turn this into a state of war? I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, let me say this. So you mean like Donald Trump tried to do?
Perhaps, and that was just the lightest scenario. It could get even like, imagine that times 20. Yeah. Imagine that all the fears of what black people had. Imagine the worst fears that we had. Oh, he gonna come take over everything. Imagine if we didn't have no guns.
Well, I'm not saying I don't think anybody in their right mind wants to just remove all weapons, but nobody can convince me on this earth that a person should have a semi-automatic rifle in their house. What you gonna hunt with that? If you shoot a deer with that, you ain't got no deer meat. Now you want to own 5-6 handguns. That's one thing. What I'm saying is this: I agree to some extent.
Okay.
On some of what you all said about it's not the weapon, it's the person. Well, if the person didn't have the weapon, then none of this bull crap would be happening in these mass killings. So what I'm saying is this: imagine this: you have the same person who want to go shoot up folk, but they just got a handgun. Now they cannot do that much destruction. So I just say that we should allow handguns and certain shotguns and things like that. But for you to have an AK-57, 47, whatever it is, ain't nobody on this earth need that in their house. You ain't got that kind of. If you got that going on, then you need to go seek Jesus. But
I don't know how I feel about those either.
Yeah.
So we can agree on that point. But look, in some countries, they have mass stabbings.
That's like, okay.
I would much rather get hit. I'm sorry. I would much rather get hit by an AK-47 round than get stabbed 6 times in my stomach. I believe I can survive the AK-47 round if it's not shot somewhere lethal. But if some random bad actor.
Let me ask y'all this. So let me ask y'all this. So I'm gonna go get me a tank. Since we can allow all these weapons, I'm gonna get me a tank.
No.
And I'm gonna get me a sniper rifle. I'm a snipe folk. So if you come within 100 yards of my house, I'm scared you're gonna rob me. I'm gonna snipe you.
Yeah. But that's at the end of the day, we can discuss about the guns and everything for over and over and over again. But I'm a firm believer in this. You got to protect yourself, because if I'm out with my family,
right,
and this fool come up and try to hurt my family, I'm going to defend my family by any means necessary to defend my family. Yes, it's guns out there killing people. Yes, you got people with guns that don't need to have guns. But at the end of the day, you have to protect yourself. And this mass killing is copycat. Because if one white boy see another white boy doing it, he gonna do another one. Then he gonna do another one. I haven't seen a black person and maybe mass go and just shoot up kids at school, just go up, shoot up the mall and anything. It's like, what kills me is this: out of all the mass shooting, and this is true, and I don't care what nobody say, out of all the mass shooting, and if you see white boy do all the mass shooting, and when they come out, the cops got them coming out walking with hands cuffed. If that was a black person, believe me, they'll be pushing that person out, dead as I don't know what.
In a bag.
What?
In a bag.
Period.
Or they wouldn't care at all. Because if you think about it, we have mass shootings every day, all the time in the black community, in the hood, every day. It don't even make the news.
Yeah.
It's so funny. People always say, you don't ever see no black people shooting up no Walmart. You don't ever see no black. We don't need to. We can go outside.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't need to do that. That's the reason why you don't ever see it. But the problem is, it's also uncovering another problem.
Yeah.
It's not publicized.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
They want to show the glamour. They want to show the Damir. They got a whole Netflix season show. People dressing up as the man as Halloween.
Yeah.
They don't want to even. We don't. It's not. They don't. They done erased it out of the conversation. We don't even talk about it as a people. Because for real, think about it. How many times have you guys heard that? You don't ever see black people with mass shootings. Yeah. Yes, you do. Why don't we talk about it? Yeah. That's the question.
Why? Because the mass shooting, because we killing ourselves.
Oh, exactly.
One another. They don't care if we go. They don't care if you go to an all-black school and this black guy just starts shooting up everybody. They don't care. They say, okay, that's just them. That's what they do. And at the end of the day, we have to, until we respect ourselves, respect our community, respect our people. Exactly. And the biggest problem that Savannah has, Savannah got bad leadership, and it started with Van Johnson. He's a bad.
Stop that. Stop talking about Jamal Trey cousin now.
Hey, he's a bad leader. He's a bad example. He's a bad example of being a leader. I'm just saying. Period. Hands down. I'm keeping it real.
Well, here's the thing, and you open it. Why you keep going off the screen?
Sorry about it.
Well, I think it goes back to what I said earlier, is that, I would like for our voting base, and that's people who are registered to vote, to really start thinking about who are you putting in these offices. At the end of the day, I think we have far and few between people that really are in the spaces of leadership that need to be in spaces of leadership. Leadership is a huge responsibility, and it doesn't, let me break that down. It doesn't mean you go and pull what these people did in their life, because what I do in my personal life versus what I do as a leader are two different things. It doesn't mean that the person can't read, like Herschel Walker, because he could be a leader, we don't know, he just can't read and he's dumb. It doesn't mean that because this person espouses these personal values. In a leadership role, your personal values do count, but they're a little bit don't matter right now because you're leading people. So I think a lot of times, I'll pick a great example. It blows my mind. Now, let me start with this. I am a John Kasich fan from day up and day down. John Kasich is one of the best known Republicans and a darn good one. John Kasich is a good one. DeSantis, we got a problem, Houston. Because the one thing, the difference between John Kasich, and see, I'm a Democrat, but I will support people who are doing good. John Kasich really is in it for the right reasons. DeSantis is in it just to pat his back. And so we got to be careful. I'm saying this to say, even on both sides, we got to be careful who we're putting in the office. Right. You can tell when you're looking at them and listening to them, are they in this for the right reason? You know what I'm saying? I think so many times, like my daddy would say, I'll use Warnock, for example. Oh, he's really good. Well, define really good. And then we get into an argument. But my thing is, you're really good when you're serving really good. You're really good when you take the time to think about your constituents and what's going on in these communities. You're really good when you listen to what's going on in your base and the people that you don't serve. You're really good when you're willing to listen to the opposition and to think about your standpoint in there. So, I just think sometimes we as the people put the wrong people in place.
No, you are totally correct. And I want to speak on that really quick. A lot of times when it comes up time for election day, I get a call from my mom. It's always the same conversation. Philip, go to the booth, vote all blue down the board. It don't matter if you know who they are, just go all blue. And I think that is a narrative in our community that's toxic, because if you think about it, it's creating a culture where we don't even care or know or even want to even talk about who we're voting for. That person that's on that ballot, what you're saying right there, we could be putting the devil in office and wouldn't even know and wouldn't even care. So I think it's very important that we start actually caring about the people that we just vote for instead of just voting down a card or voting for one side, because it creates issues that you were just speaking about.
Yeah,
you're right. So Bernard, hit pause real quick. We're going to come back. I want to hear your response and Karen X. So we're going to go into a commercial break, and we're going to go to about 1:15. So hold tight. All right, we're back. And for those of you from California to Malaysia to China to India and our good friends in Africa, we are Our Black Media. We're worldwide, we're international. We do sponsorships. When we receive your sponsorships, we do commercials, we market. Get at us. Let's do this thing. So, Philip, where did you go? Bernard, if you could give a response. Well, Chandra, let's start with, we'll go with Bernard and Chandra on what Philip said. Philip, join us.
Hey, Sonia, how you doing?
Hey, Bernard. Hey, Robert. What's the question?
Hey. Yeah.
My thing is this on that response, and I'm always one to bust people out. So, a couple of days ago, right, I sent out a text, and this leaders in Savannah. I sent out a text, and I said, "Hey, I want to meet with y'all. I got some concern that I want to talk to y'all about in Savannah." So, I ain't gonna call no name, but I'm saying I gotta respond in a text, and for this young man, and he said, "Okay, hey, let's meet." Blah blah blah. But I didn't get to respond for the other person. And my thing is this: stop faking people. Stop faking people when you're in public and you got a lot to say. But when somebody busting you out and say, "Hey, let's meet," or you don't want to respond on the text, that's what you call fake politician people. And I hate that at the end of the day. So if you can't respond and say, "Hey, I want to meet with you and let's talk about a solution," then bypass me when you see me in public.
Not miss me.
Don't touch
me. Miss me.
Miss me, man. No, I didn't say it. I didn't say that word. But y'all swear y'all gonna say it. I didn't say that. I said it with an M. I said it with an M while y'all trying to block me.
Hey, and I'm not telling you, man, we need to start busting people out. We need to, like that political correct, man, we need to start busting them out.
Sean is scary.
And we need to call it name. And I want to thank Orlando Scott for responding to my text, brother, and next week. Period.
Don't be bothering Orlando now. That's my boy. Now we'll jump you now.
Nah, that's my boy. That's my boy.
We'll jump you now. You ain't gonna get away alive now. Sean, what's your thoughts, Sean?
Now, I came in at the end part of a topic I see, but so I don't know quite what we're talking about, but so are we talking about, huh?
Go ahead. What's your question?
What are we actually talking about?
Philip, what was your last comment? I kind of remember, but I don't want to get it incorrect.
Man.
So are we talking about just going a straight ticket of Democrats, or are we?
We were talking about.
What are we talking about?
I'm about to tell you now.
Yeah,
slow down, cousin. Go ahead, Philip.
Yeah, what was the?
I made a comment of we put people in place that are not the best leaders, and I was giving an example of I mostly subscribe Democrat, but I also look at John Kasich, who is a staunch Republican, as a responsible, good leading Republican versus DeSantis. So how do we get away from just picking people because they my mama, uncle, cousin, daughter, and put people in place that can lead with conviction and lead with real authority?
Well, first you have to show up at the meetings that they hold, if they hold meetings, because I followed Kemp his whole campaign, and Kemp ran on nothing. Okay, he ran on absolutely no platform. And a lot of these new politicians are running on absolutely nothing, and they're able to get away with it because you have uninformed voters. And they just go in the ballot box and they look at a name that they might have heard before a couple of times, or the name sounds black to them. How black is a Stella Shabazz?
So like that. Don't be talking about Kwanzaa. They'll go into the ballot box and they're like, "Oh, okay, well, I want to vote for somebody black," and they look at the name and they say, "Oh, that sounds real black to me," and they just pick them. They just choose them based on
they, oh, I remember Van Johnson. He came to the college and we did the two-step together, and
Exactly.
all of these are not good reasons to have
Exactly.
these people
That's all.
in leadership positions, because if you look at their track records,
Exactly.
look,
Why they vote?
look, look,
Why they advocacy?
look
Come on
in,
now.
yeah, look in the first district
On snap.
prior to him being a mayor,
What they
Right.
did
and
then?
see the disaster.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You ain't preaching. Go
Exactly.
Look
ahead.
at the disaster that's over there.
Yeah.
And then you promote him into being a mayor.
Yeah.
And what
Yep.
has he done for your
Come on, Kasim
areas?
Reed. What you did, Kasim?
Exactly.
Come on, go ahead now.
If you don't live in the 4th district or the 2nd, downtown district, which y'all can't even afford to live downtown anymore. So if you don't live in those districts and you live in the 5th and the 1st, you ain't got shiznick in this administration.
So
So how about that?
let's take it a
Yeah.
little broader. Let's take it a little broader
Yeah.
because we are, I don't know about America at the Dog or the Rabble, but this is an international show. But let's take it a little
Yeah.
broader. As we look at both Texas, where you are, Chandra, and Alabama, with the governors we have there, Alabama and Phillips in Alabama. We even have Kemp. And Philip, I want to pose this question to you because that's the premise of the show is to talk about today. As we look at those governors and how what we've seen with the Republican Party, not even good or bad. I'm not weighing it that way because I don't look at things as good or bad. I look at what's in the middle. But in your opinion, what is the future? What are the legislative pieces that they are espousing, or some that you are aware of that maybe the opposition is espousing? What's the future like? What are some things that you think are on the books that we need to look at differently, or what are some things that we have not looked at as we look to the future?
Yeah.
Let me think. Which party were you talking about? The Democratic Party or the Republican Party?
Answer the way you want to answer it. I love to kind of give very broad, open-ended questions because it makes you just answer the way you want to answer.
Yeah.
I think really what we're pushing for now is for people want to feel closer to their politicians. They're tired of figureheads. I think that's pretty much consistent between all Americans on all sides. We tired of figureheads. Like Miss Sandra was saying, it's we got to be able to know a lot more about the people who we're putting in office. Being black and being just black isn't just an automatic class. Isn't an automatic go ahead to say, okay, we need to vote for this person, because not all black politicians have what black people want and need in mind. If you could watch an episode of Power and see that. I'm just playing.
That's real.
I'm just joking, but for real though, you can watch an episode of Power and see that. So I think what we want is what we need is to be closer to our politicians, to know more about them, to actually know and understand and recognize who we're trying to talk to and roll with. That's very important. That's the future. That's why Donald Trump was so polarizing for the white community, for these communities out here, because he was close to the people.
Yes. And he was already sending his dog whistles on what he was going to do when he got in office, or who he was going to cleave to, and I can go back to when Obama was in office. We assumed that if Obama was in office, that he would push things to be equitable for Black people, but our businesses did not flourish under Obama. We didn't get the bills that should have come up under Obama. They still had the lynching bill on the rolls up until this year. And if you have a black president that knows that there are bills that directly affect a culture or a people that he is from, half from, wouldn't you think that they would be pushing those agendas?
Yeah.
Right.
But you got to
Go ahead, Bernard.
But you got to realize this too, Sonia, at the end of the day is this. You can be the president of the United States, right? And Obama was the first black president. Well, Clinton was the first black president. And then Obama was the second black president.
Not with that three-structure outlaw, but go ahead.
And then like this here, it's like when Obama was president, it was an all Republican Senate. It was an all Republican House. So at the end of the day, he pushed a lot, but he couldn't get it because, they wouldn't allow him, period. And people don't realize the most important vote is, you vote for the president of the United States, okay, but the most important is you realize the Senate and the House. Now, Democrat got the Senate, 51, whatever, 49. Republican got the House. So at the end of the day, maybe Biden may can get something pushed because of, the Democrat or the Senate. But at the end of the day, I'm like this here. Just because you look like us, don't mean you for us. I don't care like this here.
Exactly.
You can be the white man, and if you sounding like you for us, and you putting in your effort, like, hey, I'm gonna do this for you, then okay,
I'm with you.
I'm with you. And if you black and you sounding good and you talking good and you looking good, and you got some red flags coming up, come on now.
I ain't with you.
Looking at the red flags that's coming up when we go out and vote for people. A liar gonna give you 100 red flags. A good, honest person like us on this platform gonna give you straight up, and we're gonna be honest, and y'all got my vote. That's the key right there.
Well, and to add to what you're saying, Bernard, I'm gonna talk about Weeping Time. Philip, Weeping Time is located here in the city of Savannah. It's the largest. It's the land where the largest slave trade ever happened in America. But, hold on. Yeah, it's still in the Savannah. They want to build a Salvation Army. They want to build a shelter on it, and they don't want to honor the land as it should be honored. You got black politicians that sit in major positions in this city that don't understand or care about Weeping Time, yet you got a white Republican in the House of Representatives, Buddy Carter, that is more willing to support the preservation of that land versus some of the people in leadership here. That blows my mind.
That's crazy. That's not
right.
right.
You don't honor your own history. I don't know what that says about you, but what blows my mind, the only reason they don't want to do it is because they want to see what they can do to wipe our communities out and to pad their pockets. Now, what I can say about that is that person is a lost cause and really needs to go get some therapy, because the moment you sell your people out and your heritage out, you ain't nothing but a coward to me. I said it here first.
Yeah.
I don't get that, but Philip, what's your thought about that? I mean, seriously, Buddy Carter has done more for Weeping Time than a lot of these politicians that sit on council that can make these decisions. Not all of them. It's three that do really good work, and because I get caught up, I don't make sure I ain't y'all three, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Go ahead, Philip.
Worse than a coward, if you ask me. Let's put it like that. That's first off, worse than a coward. Mm-hmm. We just gotta be careful. We got to be careful. I think this has been a narrative for the whole conversation that we've had. We have to be careful as a people. We can't just elect somebody based off the color of their skin. We can't, because we don't know what somebody's motivations is. This is politics, and this is America. This is America. Everything from the top of North America down to the very bottom of South America, down in Ecuador, all the way down in Chile, is corrupt. From the cocaine to the heroin to the marijuana, everything from the North Pole down to the furthest part of South America is corrupt. This is just America, baby. So you can't trust anybody just based off the color of their skin, and that is the lesson to be learned. Because you're right, and that's happening all over the country. There's white people in this world that care about the plight of Black people way more than a Black man does in some cases. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it just happens. Why? It's not because there's any master evil plan. It's just that this is America, baby. And this is how America works. And you gotta do your research on people.
You're right. You absolutely.
Well, in terms of that weeping time, you know, not that Buddy Carter, I mean, because Buddy Carter is not for, trust me on this, he is not for the Black plight. However, Buddy Carter, you know, in this situation, he is doing the right thing, you know, but everybody can see that the 3 African Americans that is voting against the weeping time on the council have made deals with the devil, and it's in reference to financial kickbacks if they're able to make this deal go through. And I'm not sure whether they're gonna get paid by SCAD, whether they, you know, for getting the Salvation Army off of Montgomery Street, or they're gonna get paid by the Mr. Green, who is over the what do you call that thing? The Savannah Business Association, or you know, or what? I don't know who they're getting the kickback from, but trust me on this, they are getting a kickback, and it even goes back to the fact that Savannah only has one cable company. Comcast has been dominating and giving poor services in Savannah forever, but they will not open up. They will not open up that market because of the kickbacks, and I've been saying it for a long time.
But there are more choices now. You and in this house, when I came back with mom and daddy to caretake for them, I took all that out. You can stream. I mean, but then you didn't. That's where the competition shows up in the streaming and internet. Let me shift gears really quick. Chandra, you said something key important. I always say that too. Follow the money. You remember that federal money? I don't think it was the CARES Act money, but with some federal money involved. All I know is this: you really want to go dig, follow some of this money that was awarded by the city, by certain city managers, with this certain leader involved, this other leader. I think it's called a mayor, but not. Follow that money. Go look at some of the records. We'll figure it out.
The money always tells the truth.
Well, the thing is, it's misappropriation of federal funds.
Yeah, and you're right.
Exactly.
If you know, people don't realize, and we know on this platform, we know the history of the weeping time. A lot of folks, I guarantee you, most of the Black folks in Savannah, Georgia, don't know what's the background about the weeping time. You know, and Rebel Small, he's I mean, he pushing, but at the end of the day, they gonna give that land to the Salvation Army because of pumping Van Johnson pocket and the rest of these white folk pocket to get what they want. It's sad to say, you know, us as Black folks been treated wrong for the past 500 years and more, and until we stop, you know, backing these so-called Uncle Tom Negroes.
Oh,
let me say it again. Until we stop backing these Uncle Tom Negroes, they're gonna always sell us out. They're gonna always sell us out, and I hope they overturn the weeping time. I really do. And for us, Buddy Carter, I really don't know the young man. I know he's I heard a lot about
him in a minute.
And at the end of the day, it's a plus if you just get one white person trying to support it, you know, at the end of the day. So, I mean, it's sad to say.
But
Could y'all, one of y'all explain what is this? I'm from Alabama. What is this weeping times? Is it kind of like
as we start the discussion? The weeping, we know white folk went to Africa, stole human beings, brought them over here, and they labeled them as slaves. I'm very cut and dry. Y'all know me.
Okay.
So when you stole human beings and demeaned them and did all the stuff your ancestors did, they get here and now you want to auction them. Well, the Weeping Time property is a piece of land in the city of Savannah where the largest slave auction was held in the history of the United States, the largest ever.
Yeah.
So what you have now is idiots, and you are idiots if you support this, who want to build a Salvation Army shelter on this land when there's plenty of land throughout this city. But you know what that is? What happened was some kind of way, this federal money I talked about earlier, you and your boys went, Pat Monahan and other people, and made sure you took care of some folks. So all this stuff kind of happened behind closed doors. Oh, we can, you know, I ain't gonna go there with you, but we can if you wanna. Yeah. But that's what it is, Philip. And so what you're trying to do is displace a black community, and what you're trying to do is desecrate sacred land. And so at the end of the day, that's really what it is. To answer your question,
what's on the property? Is it kind of like
land right now? There's nothing there really, but what
there's nothing there is just land.
Right. What needs to be there is a monument. If you look at the University of Virginia, they did it right. They paid homage to slave and the enslaved that in that community, and they built a very nice monument. When I become on city council, we are going to seek building a monument, not a shelter to displace people. You say that's sacred land. I'm sorry. Right. So that's really what it is. What are your thoughts? Okay.
And let me clear this up before we say anything. My opinion is my opinion. It do not have anything to do with our black media. So I want to address that just in case somebody want to say my opinion is my opinion is not on the fleck of our black media.
All right, Philip. So Philip, you had a response.
I was gonna say, I mean, you was asking me what was my feelings on that. Man, I don't know, because I can't relate because I'm not from Savannah. I don't know how you guys feel about that particular piece of land. I remember the closest thing I can relate to with that is growing up in Atlanta with Stone Mountain. Now, but Stone Mountain was a little bit different though. Stone Mountain is almost kind of like they're promoting slavery with Stone Mountain. So I don't know. I don't really know too much about
because when I first moved to Atlanta. And I used to tell folks I live in Stone Mountain. A lot of black people look at you side-eyed. And I was like, what's going on? So tell people the context behind that.
Yeah.
So Stone Mountain is kind of like, but Stone Mountain is a place you can take your mom on Sunday and go to a nice country restaurant in Stone Mountain and see some people dressed up as slaves serve your fried pickles. That's what Stone Mountain is.
And
Stone Mountain.
Go ahead.
What you about to say?
I was gonna say, and it used to be basically what I was told, where the Ku Klux Klan would go to the top of the mountain and burn their crosses.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what Stone Mountain is. But everybody love going to Stone Mountain. We go there for picnics and get on the mountain and hike up the mountain. And so I'm just trying to figure out, is this reaping thing kind of like Stone Mountain, or is it something different? Is it like
it's not that? What it is here are two opposing views. You have one view that says, let's put a shelter over there. We want to help the homeless, which is BS, set and curse. That's a whole bunch of BS. When you go behind the curtains, it's a few people who getting some kickbacks and help their buddies. That's what that's about. Because you want the other side of it is we see you. Like Nene Bleak said, we see each other. So we see you trying to displace the community. We see you trying to dishonor this land because you ain't from here and you don't value it. We do. We see you trying to pad your pockets. We see you acting like you don't know what's going on. So we got people who want to protect it, and you got people who over here want to gain from it. That's just not what we do. But I want to shift gears really quick because I don't want to make this the Weeping Time show. There's a big law, a big system. There's another two systems, but the main system I want us to address, and Philip, I want your feedback on this, is the criminal justice system. Why? Because it's one of the killers and more detrimental systems of the black community. We got to reform that system. And I want you to start, Philip, on how do you see we reforming the criminal justice system? I'm going to end that conversation because I have a very liberal view on it. But let's start with you, and we'll get the other commentators to join us.
The only way in my opinion, that I see is to stop making prisons so lucrative. If we can figure out a way politically to stop making prisons so lucrative on the private end, then that would solve a lot of our criminal justice issues. In America, it is so lucrative right now for a millionaire, a billionaire to buy these private prisons and create a system to further enslave black men, to further put them in a system, to further not, I won't even say black, any marginalized group of people in America is targeting from the prison systems. So if we can figure out a way to get our politicians to stop making it so dang lucrative for these people to be building these prisons to keep it going, I feel like that's a good step number one.
All right, Chandra, we want to keep Chandra your answer under 2 minutes.
Exactly what Phil said. The worst thing they ever did was to privatize the prison system, and then to make it so easy for these lawyers and the lawyers and the judges to work together in order to railroad our men, and and just put them in prison for anything, anything. And now they have it even going for our children.
Exactly.
So I mean, come on. So that's what needs to be done, and we need to look at it, and people need to get, come together around that and charge their politicians to stop this shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Has to stop.
I know we don't have that much time, so I'm gonna keep it like this. Hey, I agree with everything y'all said at the end of the day, but I'm gonna send a message out to the black men, young black men, just stay out the system.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
Well, but how can you?
Well, they can stay out the system. Number one, let me tell you how. Number one, they can stay out the system by killing each other. Number two, they can stay out the system by making better decisions. Number three, they can stay out the system by killing these damn black young ladies when they don't want you. That's how. You say the system. Okay, the system. We in our black community need to take responsibility for our action and stop always blaming the system. The system ain't telling me to get on this show and run my mouth. The system ain't telling nothing. The system ain't telling me how to take care of my family. I'm taking care of my family because it's my responsibility at the end of the day. And it's
we gonna have this topic on the Rabble.
Listen, black young men need to take responsibility for their action, and I'm just tired of them.
But what about the trap, though? There is a prison trap.
Well, and hold on 1 second. Hold on. I agree. I think all of y'all have great points. We all have decisions and do things that we're not excited or proud of. And I also say we live in a community, a country, where we live in antiquated laws and ancient ways of being. So what am I saying? How is it okay that there's a law that you can have an AK-57 and go kill massive people? How is it okay that Buddy Carter and pharmacists can sell you opioids and all kind of drugs that make another problem and another problem and another problem and another problem, but it's not okay to sell marijuana? Yeah. What's wrong?
The only answer is this is America.
But you know what? Then our community will sit down and rally behind people just because they said it, or they say it on the TV instead of doing the research and understanding why it's illegal in the first place. Why is it okay for a pharmacist to give you stuff that's going to kill you, but you go out here and our black men who are already probably coming from poverty-stricken areas and just want to make them living, and they're demonized and put in jail for selling a substance? Now, I ain't trying to say they right, and I'm not trying to say they wrong, but the gray area tells me that's wrong. Why would you add to a prison system where taxpayers are paying all this money, and yet you can let a pharmacist do the same thing, but it's legal?
Okay. And RG, wait until they make it legal. Wait until they make it legal and they have one on every corner, right? like they do in California, ain't none of y'all gonna have a dispensary. I promise you that.
Well, talk about that. You are out of that game because it costs so much to get the license.
Exactly.
Oh, hold on. But wasn't it illegal 3 years ago? Oh, but you found a benefit for your community. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We got
that's how it works.
We gotta start doing our own research on that. What I'm saying is this: the only time a person needs, and we're talking about criminal justice system, the only time a person needs to be incarcerated is for violent crimes. That's killing somebody and rape.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Period.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Either way, just take the substances out of it. You talking about you gonna put somebody in jail for a car, a tag, or insurance? Guess what? Let me give you the scenario. Chandra, you're a single mom. You got children. Let's say you weren't in the privilege you were living in and had the salary you had, and you working 2 or 3 jobs, and you got to rush across town and speed to go get your child, but you couldn't pay insurance because you had to buy these other things. And now because you don't have insurance, you got to pick up the child, you get locked up because I don't have insurance.
Yeah.
It bothers me.
And in Houston, we have the highest insurance. I've never had a ticket or anything, and my insurance on my car is $272 a month, full coverage. Most people can't. Most people can't afford that, and my car note is $800.
What you driving?
2 cars in the one.
Hey, you see that leather? She ain't got that leather. Nice she got the leather. Hey. She got that Italian leather, boy. But look, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying about the system. Is that as a people, we are impacted the most. And let's talk about not just the criminal justice system, healthcare. We're gonna go a little 15 minutes, y'all. Healthcare. We allow these people to put this stuff in our body. And let me tell y'all something. I'm a natural medicine person as much as I can be, but stop taking this blood. Nah, I ain't done that. Hold on, let me back up. Have you got to?
Don't tell them that.
Start eating better. Let's start with that. Eat better. It's not that easy. I get it, but think about this. Think about this, y'all. How many you go to the affluent white neighborhood? Let's say Buckhead, Georgia. Let's say very affluent, where people live behind the gates. How many liquor stores y'all see?
None.
Right.
Maybe one, and it's a wine cellar.
They ain't got that. You gotta get around for the Publix, but you come over here where I'm at, you go over there in Bankhead, Atlanta, you go over there to Decatur, you gonna find about 5 or 6. What's going on? Y'all tell me.
Yeah. Well, that's history. That always been they're gonna put Family Dollar in our community. They're gonna put the liquor store in our community. They're going to put the Chinese people in our community because you know why? We support them.
Well,
we support them, period.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I was watching CNN this morning, and they were talking about that alcohol, especially after the pandemic, since the pandemic, has been killing more people under the age of 35 than pills and cocaine and crack and meth combined, because women, and especially women under the age of 35 have been becoming alcoholics more. They said the rate has increased 368%. That they're going in for liver transplants, yes. Man, and you got these people under the age of 35. And that just scared me, that people are consuming alcohol at a higher level, but nobody's talking about it because one is legal. And 2, we celebrate with alcohol, but people consuming it a lot.
I don't know. I mean, I understand what you're saying, son. You're right, and I ain't gonna be no hypocrite. I drink a 6-pack of Natural Light just about every day.
I ain't laughing at you, laughing with you.
Hey, And I don't need no and I don't need no marijuana to get me high. I'm high on just being high.
Hey.
And people don't realize, man.
Yeah, that's
you people don't understand what people going through.
right.
People really understand what people going through, man. And so we need to, like, you can be the last person talk to me and try to save me. Or you can be the last person talk to me and then put me over the edge. Watch what you say to people. Watch what, you don't know what everybody going through behind closed doors. Just like that young man killed himself from Ellen.
Yeah.
You don't know what he went through. And at the end of the day, mental health is a big problem in the Black community. And that's what we need to address before we address anything, man. It's a lot of Black folks going through a lot of mental health problems. And I'm one of them. And at the end of the day, hey, trust me. It's something. Mental health is more dangerous than putting a gun in your head, putting a gun and go out there and shoot somebody.
Well, and here's
yeah, very much so.
Well, and here's the problem, man. Philip, I want you to respond. I'm about to get mad now, but I ain't never care about you get mad. You go get your Band-Aid out of Nettles Hospital, they will serve your needs. The Black church, and I'm not complaining, but the Black church needs to show up different. I mean, and I'm gonna use this example. There's many of them, but you don't. Like I used to tell my daddy, the Bible is a book of interpretations used to give us an example of how to guide life. The only thing that God spoke on in the Bible were those 10 commandments, and outside of those 10 commandments, it's fair game. So when you want to come and tell somebody what they need to do and how they need to do it, how do you know God ain't prescribed that for their life? How do you know that God didn't prescribe a moment for Bernard to go through? It might have not been comfortable for Bernard, but for him to take something away. So what I want the Black church to do, and I'm going to use this one example, is understand that you may not agree with same-sex marriage, but nobody really cares. Nobody. And at the end of the day, if somebody want to go lay up, two women going to lay up, I hope you have a ball and have a good time. Don't come in my bedroom in my life. Don't come telling me what I need to do. If somebody want to get a divorce, that's upon them too. So, Philip, what do you think about the Black church and how it's showing up or not showing up?
In what way? In response to same-sex marriage? In response to
say the LGBT Marriage Equality Act? Whatever. We'll use that as an example.
I think that shouldn't even be a focus or a conversation that they should be having at all. I think it's a trick to take focus off of things that truly matter, things that the church should be focusing on, problems that we're having in the Black community that are a lot more important. I could care very little about what anybody's doing in the bedroom. Now, I can't speak. I'm not a clergyman, so I couldn't speak for him. And but I would assume that issues with our educational system should be more important in the Black church. Issues with our the morality of our people in general should be a more important topic of the church. I believe who the Black church is putting into office and putting into play should be a more important topic of discussion for the Black church. And I could keep going on, etc. There are so many things that are more relevant that the Black church should probably be speaking on or focusing on than issues with the LGBT community. Now, I do realize that their mainstream viewpoint of it is that they feel like there is some type of agenda that is being put a play, and that they're anti whatever that agenda that they believe is happening. I believe that's their stance. However, focusing on that agenda, I think, is just a ploy for the Black community to not be focused on things that matter more.
Yeah,
and that's my official response.
Yeah, that's powerful. But no, I like your response to this part, Bernard, in particular, that the word distraction, and I totally agree with that. I totally agree, because the Black church needs to show up now. I love that response. Is voting. What Black church should be showing up now is environmental. Not segregation, but discrimination. The Black church will be showing up now as education around our community. The Black church should be showing up now as making sure that we have resources for those who are less fortunate. There's many more I can go on, but Bernard, respond to that distraction. That's so true.
But you know what? On my opinion, I think the Black churches these days right now is destroying the Black community. Because at the end of the day, you got these Black pastors, not all of them. You got these Black pastors in it for themselves and only themselves. I am not going to go to a church that my monthly bills that I'm paying is I'm paying more to the church than I'm paying my bills. Really? I'm like, at the end of the day, God gonna get me through heaven. At the end of the day, not no church and anything. And that's the problem. We got these so-called pastors using their agenda to benefit themselves, and that's the problem. And at the end of the day, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be straight honest with you. Only time I really go to church is maybe if somebody passed away and I go to their funeral, whatever. But other than that, I don't need no pastor or no fake churches to get me in heaven. And the problem is the black churches, the black pastors is killing our black community. Growing up is totally different when we was growing up. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is out to get what they want, and every race is draining the black community. You know why? Because we allow them to do that. We allow them to do that.
Well, as it relates to LGBT, I don't feel like the black church should be talking about anything as it relates to morality when, when they're holding, they'll hold a baby shower for a teenager in a banquet room, or unwed mama can sit on the front row and be in the choir at the same time. So with and then her and her unwed father, that's sitting up there. You know what? Miss me with the morality talk if we ain't talking about it all, okay? Because the last I read my book, and I read it.
You got the wrong book.
There are no. If you counting one thing as being a sinful act, and you ain't counting all of these other things as being a sinful act, miss me with the sin talk, okay?
Yeah.
So that's that part. But as it relates to our mental health, what I didn't like at the beginning of this year when I was going through I've been going through counseling all year for the acts of others. And I had pastors telling me, well, depression is not from God. And, you just got to pray more. And I've never, I get it. We can pray. But sometimes, I can pray that, my high blood pressure goes away or whatever. But I also have to eat right. I got to take my medication. I got to do, I got to exercise. So there's other things that go into being a healthy individual. And you can't tell me, well, don't go to counseling or don't seek medication if that's what I need in order to deal with this chronic depression. And that's why a lot of people, and especially in our Black communities, feel so ashamed when they are going through something because their pastors are telling them, oh, depression is not from God. And, let me just talk to you about it and blah, blah, blah. Sit down, have several seats, Pastor.
Right.
I mean,
the front row on the pulpit.
You're right.
No, have several seats in the back of your own church. How about that? Just have several seats and let these people be free from bondage.
Yeah, and you're right. My thing is him. Ain't none of your business whether a man be with a man or a woman be with a woman. Ain't none of your business. And at the end of the day, Pastor, you need to clean up your closet and behind closed. At the end of the day, and we got to do show coming. It's called Sonya and Bernard Keeping It Real, the show.
Oh,
That's right.
That's in our new.
That's
lineup.
right.
They haven't run about it.
That's right.
Yeah, so I don't know if I'm gonna pay y'all.
Keeping it real.
Keeping it
Saturday.
So that's gonna replace.
Keeping it real Saturday.
Well, y'all,
Yeah.
we're gonna do final comments. We're gonna let our youngster go last. We're gonna do final comments, 30 seconds. But now, what you got to say to the people?
Hey, at the end of the day, you know, they need to share, support our black media, because we keep it real at the end of the day. And I'm gonna be strictly honest with you. I wish and pray that these young men, you know, stop killing each other and stop killing these young girls. And parents, you need to watch who your kids be with on a serious note.
Yes.
Because you thinking he coming in there clean cut and smiling, he can be a straight out massacre. So be careful who you let your little girls go out with at the end of the day.
All right, Chandra, we get final comments.
Hey guys, y'all just have a great Saturday. Have a great coming up holiday week. Y'all be safe. Don't be out here drinking and driving because they waiting on you. You know.
And it's
so
dangerous.
I mean, it's dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, we all have done that. Unfortunately, it's just something that's not good. But if you can monitor that, I wholeheartedly agree. Philip, last words.
Anyway, but look, yeah, I ain't never drunk like that and drove, but I understand it do happen. But listen, I hope everybody enjoyed what we talked about today. I know everything that we talked about is not going to be able to be discussed in 1 hour and 30 minutes. We can sit here and talk about each one of these subjects and topics and dissect those for about 3 hours at least. And man, I don't think we got enough air in our lungs for all that. But we gotta keep these little tidbits of knowledge going, and I hope people tune in the next for the next show. What is this? Our Black Media?
Oh, he's coming back.
Y'all.
No. I've been trying to get this guy on this, and he was so like, I don't know how to navigate it. So, how many people vote that Philip come back full time? Raise your hand.
Also,
I like Philip.
You did.
Where's Julius?
Philip, you know me. You've been knowing me for years. You need to come back. We need you as a regular on this show, maybe the rabble, but you did an awesome. You've exceeded expectations. Yeah, you did good.
Right.
I mean, you have, and your insight. And Philip Bernard will tell you, we're not here to agree. We want different opinions. Me and Bernard will go at it. Me and Chandra Bernard. But that's what we're about. We've got to demonstrate to our community that you can disagree, and after I cuss you out, we can go get a drink.
No, not curse me out.
Yeah, I ain't gonna shoot you. I ain't gonna beat you up. We just got to demonstrate that we're supposed to disagree.
Right.
I don't want no yes people around me.
Right. One thing I love about Philip, he kept saying America. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's the same thing for America at the Dot, Philip, is America.
You said what? Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, this is America, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like I can't. There's a lot of unexplainable things that go on in America, and one of the best
and his head
can be this America.
But I mean, really, Julius love this. If you come back, you could be a full-time co-host. And we don't, Julius Hall would love that. Julius Hall said, "I'm gonna get out, but Charlotte gonna take care of your contract." So I don't know about that.
I'm sorry.
Actually,
where is Julius today?
He's out working for the Brian for Savannah campaign. I'm really kidding, but I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I ain't gonna put nobody on there like that. All right, y'all. We'll be back next Saturday. Hopefully, people will join us. Our Black Media. I'm Robert Brown. We'll sign off. We'll see you next Saturday at noon. Take care.
Oh, we'll be in person next Saturday. I'm coming over to your house.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
this. I like this.